Usually I'd come up with a little intro, but this video is about talking less, so I'll get straight to it. The first reason why you should talk less, or keep your mouth shut, is because you'll fail if you don't. When you talk about your goals and ambitions, it releases the same level of dopamine as it does to go out and actually achieve them. So in essence, you can get the same feeling that you were after, the same feeling of achievement, by just talking about your goals. So why then would you actually go out and actually achieve them? Think about it, if you can get the same feeling through little effort by just talking about it, why would you expend energy to go out and actually do it? And the second problem with it is usually not just talking about your goals to yourself, you're usually talking about them to someone else. And that's what releases the dopamine response. But it's even worse when the other person gives you praise and respect for talking about your goals before you've achieved them. Because for anything you do, you are firstly looking for that dopamine response. That's the only reason we do anything. Without that, you'll just be a zombie. You wouldn't move, you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. The second reason why you do things is for social reward or social acceptance. But you're getting both of those things by talking about them. So think about it. You say you're planning on losing weight and you tell someone, I'm going to lose 10 kg in the next 3 months. First of all, that's already released a dopamine response in your brain. You already have the reward that you were chasing. Second of all, the other person will then say, oh, I'm happy for you, I'm glad you're turning your life around, or something along those lines. And in them doing that, don't get me wrong, they're just trying to do right by you, but in them doing that, they're actually setting you back a little bit because they're giving their respect to you for not doing anything. You haven't gone out and done anything yet. All you've done is talked. So in essence, what happens is when you talk about your goals, you're less likely to go out and actually achieve them because you don't feel the need to anymore. The motivation you had was in the feeling that you were after. And now that you've already got that feeling, your motivation's gone with it. The second reason why you should keep your mouth shut is because you'll lose yourself. So this is when you're looking for social acceptance or seeking approval, seeking validation. It's fine to ask for opinions on a decision you want to make, but the issue is when you start to formulate the decision you want to make to get the social acceptance. So it sort of relates to the previous point. We all crave social acceptance. It's why everyone migrates towards normality. And you have to fight against that if you want to be more than average. But anyway, the validation that you get and the approval that you get releases dopamine in itself. It makes you feel good. When you're socially accepted, you feel good about it. So at the start, you might ask for opinions on a decision you want to make to actually get their opinion on it. But eventually, if you keep seeking approval too much, it can get out of hand to the point where the decision you put out to people is for the sake of pleasing them. So let's use a typical Indian stereotype of Indian parents wanting their kids to become doctors. Let's say the kid doesn't want to be a doctor. Deep down, he doesn't want to be a doctor, but he wants to make his parents proud. In other words, seeking approval or validation. So he goes out and becomes a doctor, goes to med school, graduates, goes through all the training, whatever, and eventually becomes a doctor. Now his parents are proud. But he'll soon realize that he killed his own dreams to make his parents come true. And that's what I mean by you lose yourself. If you constantly seek validation, you're going to not do what you actually want to do. You're going to end up doing what other people want you to do or what other people think is right. And what other people think is right isn't always what's best for you. You have to use your own judgment. So instead of asking for opinions excessively, start trusting your own judgment. The third reason why you should keep your mouth shut is because people will get jealous. It's difficult to tell how a person will react or how they're actually feeling because we're all acting at the end of the day. Life is just one big act. We're in a movie. We're in a game or a movie, whatever. And that's why I think you should restrain from broadcasting your wins. Let's say you continuously keep winning, you're a winner. you go out and achieve. Or you keep your lows on the low and you only broadcast your highs. So everyone just thinks you're winning. So everyone thinks you're winning, but your friend keeps on losing. Sooner or later, he's going to become jealous. Like especially if you're on similar paths. If you're on similar paths and you're getting further than him, and you're both putting in the same level, or it appears like you're both putting in the same level of effort, and maybe your timing is better, maybe you have better opportunities, whatever, he's gonna become more jealous. Most people, in that case, would probably distance themselves. They'll get jealous and they'll distance themselves, eventually cutting you off. And that's probably the best course of action. You don't want people like that around you anyway, so it's best for both of you. But another type of person, and this is usually if they're closer to you, if they're jealous and they're close to you, you're not very likely to cut them off, and they don't want to cut you off. And they might not even know they're jealous, but they'll still try to fill your head with doubt. They won't even realize they're doing it. They feel bad, so they're going to relay all their doubts and negative energy on you. And that is dangerous. So yeah, because of jealousy, I think you should keep your wins on the low. That is, until you win so big, you don't even need to talk about your wins anymore. People will hear them loud and clear. And at that point, there's nothing they can do to stop you. Fourth reason why you should keep your mouth shut is because people might lose respect. People are communicative. They lack observational skills. And because of that, their whole opinion and image of you is based on what you say or what others say about you. And that's especially true if you don't have a reputation. If people don't know much about you, all they can base their image of you on is from what you say. So you have to be careful about what you say. If you talk about your losses too much, in the third point, you're talking about your wins too much. In this point, we're talking about you talking about your losses too much. If you talk about your losses too much, it doesn't matter for how long they've known you, you're going to paint a bad picture. And that's because people suffer from recency bias. So let's say someone's known you for a while, they've got an image painted in their head of you. If you start talking about your losses, maybe you want to take the weight off your shoulders a little bit. You'll succeed in doing that. You'll succeed in taking the weight off your shoulders a little bit. But you're splashing more paint onto that image they had in their head by doing so. And you're going to paint yourself in a negative light. So just like your wins, you should also keep your losses on the low. Reason 5 why you should keep your mouth shut is because you can't talk and listen at the same time. So imagine you have a room that's completely blank, white walls, nothing in it. And then you fill that room with people. Each person is essentially a base of knowledge. So the only information in that room is the information that people brought in with them. So now people are talking and listening. Some people are talking more than others. Others are listening more than some. The ones who are listening more are gaining knowledge, whilst the ones who are talking more are not losing knowledge, but they're dispersing their knowledge. The people listening are getting smarter. Now, in any room, there's always one person that's the loudest. And like I said, you can't talk and listen at the same time. So eventually, that person who's the loudest will be the most dumb. So to wrap this video off, all I want to say is, you only have control over what you say and do. And talk is cheap. And the more that you talk, the cheaper it gets. Just supply and demand. Actions though, actions are undeniable. The result from actions will speak louder than any words ever will. So the best course of action is to keep your mouth shut and just put one foot in front of the other.